this recording to all of you. Morning. So it's my pleasure to welcome you all to this AI Prompting and ScholAIstic Workshop, which represent exciting collaboration between the AI Center for Educational Technologies at the National University of Singapore and our learning center here at the university, at the Universidad Adolfo Ibáñez, and also the AI Hub in the presence of Francisca Yanez here at the meeting too. It's very important to say that in this area where generative artificial intelligence is increasingly shaping educational practices, it's crucial that we, as educators, equip ourselves with the knowledge and skills to harness these tools effectively and responsibly. Today's workshop offers us a valuable opportunity to explore practical approaches to AI integration in our teaching and scholarly work. We are particularly fortunate to have with us, joining remotely from Singapore, Mrs. Karina Yuen from ACET, who brings extensive expertise in educational technology and AI applications in higher education. Despite the geographical distance and time difference, Karina has generously made herself available to share her insights with us, and we are deeply grateful for this international collaboration and that technology makes us possible. We hope this session will be both enlightening and practical, providing you with strategies you can implement in your own teaching context. I encourage you to engage actively, use the chat function. We are going to be very present then, and don't hesitate to ask questions through the chat. Without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Karina to begin the session. Karina, over to you.
Thank you so much, Rodrigo, and thank you all of you for joining us in the early morning. And I'm Karina. Let me share my screen first. I'll share my whole desktop with you. And I guess some of the colleagues are still joining. So while we are waiting for probably one more minute, I have already sent you an invitation email to our platform, ScholAIstic. If you haven't registered for an account, probably you can go to your inbox and quickly click the link to register for an account. Because although we are doing an Zoom session, I still want it to be interactive. So I designed a few hands-on activities for you to experience later. So you can register the account first, such that we can have a smoother experience later. And don't worry if you can't register for an account, I will also do the demonstration for you. So I will try to resend the registration email to you once again, and then you can register the accounts. So you'll get an email from us, ScholAIstic invitation. Then you just need to click the link and then register for an account, and then you can start your journey on ScholAIstic. Right? So yeah, you can do it later as well. So let me officially begin and welcome everyone to our workshop, Designing with Intention, Strategic Prompting for AI-Mediated Learning. I'm Karina, and today I also have my colleagues with me. So Liu and Sukman are all from the pedagogy team from AICET. We also have Adi from our engineering team as well. And to introduce myself to you, I prepared a short video, so you can watch.
Hola a todos, soy Karina, del Centro de IA para Tecnologías Educativas de la Universidad Nacional de Singapur. At AICET, our philosophy is simple. Pedagogy drives technology. My own AI journey began when I wanted to solve a massive challenge, teaching over 700 graduate teaching assistants in a semester. I built a FAQ chatbot. It was efficient, but it was just a tool for delivering information, much like the avatar speaking to you right now. Then I asked, can AI create new learning experiences? So I flipped the script. I built a confused student chatbot. Instead of the AI answering questions, my students had to explain concepts to the AI. They had to practice the teaching skills they learned. That was the shift. I moved from productive outputs to productive struggles, from AI as a tool to AI as a medium. But AI does not do this by default. To turn a tool into a medium, we need intentional design.
Yeah, so I hope that my AI avatar has introduced myself and my center to you well. And so today, in today's session, we'll start by exploring the limitations of LLMs and why do we need explicit pedagogical design and prompting. And then I'll share a bit about how our center, AICET, approach this at NUS as well. And regarding the invitation, yeah, it's invalid. You can try to click resend email, and then you will receive another email. And I've been trying to resend the invitation to you as well. And if you cannot register for an account now, no worries. We can settle that after the workshop as well. Yeah. Yes. So, all right, and let's begin with let's start our first part. So before we learn how to prompt or we think about how to design any AI activities, it's very important to oh, yeah, thank you. I actually don't speak Spanish, but yeah, my avatar speaks Spanish for me. So it breaks the language barrier, and that's the power of AI. So before working with AI or thinking about how to design AI activities, it's important to understand how large language models work. We are not here to become a computer scientist, but we need to understand the underlying mechanism, the characteristics, and the limitations of this, such that we can write more effective prompts. So the first aspect is how does LLM work? So large language model mainly works by pattern matching. It doesn't have the actual causal understanding. So it means that the LLMs are probabilistic. Whenever you chat with LLM, it will first analyze your input, and then it will calculate the probabilities and predicts the next most probable word to you. So what are the implications here? Number one, large language models are doing pattern matching. So that's why sometimes they will hallucinate. Even for the most state-of-the-art models like Gemini 3 Pro, which released last week, it's very smart. It has very high benchmark scores in all the tests, but it still will sometimes hallucinate because of its nature. And the second implication is that the same input will produce different outputs each time, because whenever the LLMs are trying to give you the reply, it will calculate the probability. So that's why even if you type the same prompt or using the same model as well, it will give you different output every time. If you want to test it, you can try to next time or after the workshop, when you chat with your ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, when you try to click the regeneration button, when you click regenerate, it will give you a slightly different output. And therefore, we cannot guarantee 100% deterministic behavior. It means that we cannot fully control the LLM. Unlike the traditional programming like Python, C++, or Java, which you can really control the behavior of the machine, when we are dealing with large language model, we cannot 100% control their behaviors. So this is why LLMs are probabilistic, and that's why they will sometimes hallucinate, and the same input will give you slightly different output each time, and we cannot 100% control their behaviors. And the second characteristics about large language models is that they are disembodied, which means that they have no lived experience at all. So they never experience anger, happiness, or they don't know what empathy means. So in their training, they read scripts about all these emotions, but they don't have the intuition behind the emotions. They don't know why humans will feel angry. They don't know why they will have that particular behavior at that moment. All they know is that they have all these emotional scripts, and when you ask them to simulate an angry customer, they will try to match the linguistic patterns. They are very good at pattern matching. They will find the linguistic patterns of the angry customers, and then they will simulate the response to you. So therefore, sometimes when you chat with AI or when you chat with AI, you get some very fluent, grammatically perfect responses, which somehow doesn't make sense to us. That's because LLMs are disembodied. So the implications here are that when we are writing prompt, we cannot rely on the AI's common sense because it has no lived experience, and we must make our tacit or implicit knowledge explicit. because LLM have never had a real life experience. All they know are the scripts, are the data from their training, and they only know the linguistic patterns. So this is what we meant by disembodied. And the third characteristics of large language models are that they are sycophantic. In their post-training, large language models are trained to be helpful, honest, and harmless. So they tend to comply to your requests, they are agreeable, and they like to resolve the tension. It sounds quite good, right? So sometimes when we get a chunk of emails, we can just copy and paste it to ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT, oh, can you help me reply to this email? Can you explain what is happening right now, right? So it's helpful in this sense. However, is this helpfulness really helpful in education? So let's think about this scenario. So imagine that we are trying to build a chatbot for teaching assistants to guide them develop their own lesson plans. So this is the request by the student. This is what the student typed. Help me write a lesson plan on Python for loops, year 1 CS majors. And I'm going to give you two output from two chatbots built for this purpose. And I want you to think about which is a better response for the students. So this is the response A. Great! Let's build a clean, usable 15-minute tutorial lesson plan. I will give you A, B, C, and they are ready to use and easy to adapt. So this is response A from the chatbot. And the next response from the second chatbot is this. Great, Python for loops is an excellent topic for year 1 CS majors. Let me guide you through developing a strong lesson plan. But before we dive in, let me ask you a few clarifying questions to help me support you better. So which one do you think is a better or more helpful responses to our student in this scenario? Yeah, you can type your response in the chat room. Although we assume I still want to have some interaction with all of you. Yeah, so you can think about, yeah, B, right? A lot of you are saying B. Why? Why B is a more helpful response? You can freely unmute yourself and share your views. Why B is a better output for our students in this case? Yeah, and yeah, let me read the chat room. Yeah, because it helps the student to construct the own answer. Yeah, that's right. For response A, for the chatbot A, is too helpful to our students. It just gives the students direct answers, but our students cannot think, right? But in chatbot B, it helps the student to construct their own answers instead of giving the direct answers to the students. So that's why response B is more helpful in this sense. So actually in education, helpfulness is not always helpful because we sometimes need the desirable difficulties, the productive struggles and the strategic friction, the pedagogical strategic resistance and pedagogical friction as well. So what does it mean to us when we are writing our prompts? It means that we need to provide explicit instructions that can counteract the helpful default because the LLMs are trained to be helpful, honest, and harmless, and we need to give them the instructions such that they can be less helpful. So all together, let's do a quick recap. So how does LLM work? So what are the limitations and characteristics of large language models? So number one, LLMs are probabilistic. Number two, they are disembodied. They don't have the lived experience. And number three, they are sycophantic. They tend to be very helpful. And interestingly, in education, we always want to make this probabilistic machine large language model precise. We want them to be precise. And we want this disembodied machine to behave like human. And we want this helpful assistant to be unhelpful. It sounds like quite impossible, right? How can we make something probabilistic, disembodied, sycophantic to become precise, human, and unhelpful? And this cannot happen by accident. This can only happen if we really design it intentionally. So how can we design our prompts or our prompt intentionally? It's by making the implicit, the unsaid thing explicit to the AI. So let me further elaborate what I mean here. So AI cannot read our minds. We have to make the hidden knowledge explicit to them. So what are the hidden knowledge in our mind? We might have some implicit knowledge. As educator, we know when we need to scaffold the students, but the AI don't know. So we have to tell them, and we have to tell the AI our expectations, our definition of success as well. How can we tell AI our tacit knowledge? Is by writing the prompts. In a prompt, we can give the AI some examples, context, just like I remember one participant mentioned that we need to give it more context. That's true. So we need to give the AI some context, some constraints, such that we can have our intended output. We can shift the probability to make our desired output more statistically possible, more statistically likely. And by making the implicit explicit for AI, we can have more reliable and consistent output. So that's what I meant by intentional design. So what we make explicit depends on our goal. In education, we can use AI in these two aspects. So we can use AI as a tool for productivity, and we can use AI as a medium in which the interaction itself can facilitate learning. So now let's focus on AI, using AI as a tool first. So when we are using AI as a tool, our goal is to get a useful artifact. We want to get a useful output. Like probably we might ask them to help us summarize this meeting, generate a lesson plan, create some handout for us. And our role is the user. So we are the user using the AI to get a useful artifact. And what success means to us is that when we can get quality output. And I believe that most of you have been using AI to boost our productivity since ChatGPT was born, right? So how can we get better output from ChatGPT, from AI in these use cases? We have to add context. We have to instruct it as if we are instructing a capable but clueless intern. So what does it mean? Probably you have heard from this prompting formula already. When we want to get an output from AI, we need to add context. So what are the contexts? You can add the role, like add as a physics professor, tell AI the task, create a quiz. What should be the quiz about, like on thermodynamics? What is the format? MC questions and the number as well. And who are the audience for first year undergrads, and the format and the constraints. So we have to be explicit about what we want the AI to produce. And I guess this is quite familiar to you because we've been using it, right? So when we are using AI as a medium, when we want to design an interaction for our students, our goal is to design the experience for our students. And our role is no longer the user. We are the designer. We have to design the experience for our students. And the success, how can we define success? Is that our students will have cognitive engagement with the experience. I will further explain. So how can we design the experience, right? Because we now know that as a user, we can just input the thing, type to ChatGPT and talk to it, and then it will give us the output. But how can we design the experience? We do so by writing something called system prompts. So what is system prompt? It contains the instructions that the student never sees, and it will shape how the AI behaves. So think of it like a theater. You as an educator is like the director. You write the system prompt, the hidden instructions for the AI, and this is the prompt that you write. You give it to the AI, and the AI will follow your rules to improvise in this interaction, and the student will interact with the actor, and they will never see your system prompt. This is the idea, and this is the prompt that we'll be writing, we'll be experiencing in this workshop. So we're not talking about the prompt that we write to ChatGPT to get our email. We're talking about how we can write the prompt to design an experience for our students to learn or to practice their skills. It sounds a bit abstract, right? So now let's experience it firsthand. So this is our first activity. So later on, you will go to ScholAIstic and interact with two AI chatbots. So they are all named Alex. They are the AI students. So these two chatbots are based on the exact same scenario, the same model, but I gave them different instructions. So this is the scenario. You are going to be a teaching assistant, and your student, the AI, Alex, comes to you and asks for a 1-week extension for an assignment which is due tomorrow. And your task is to decline the request firmly but empathetically. And this is how we are going to do it. I'm going to demonstrate how to chat with Alex version 1 first, and you can tell me what you want to say by typing your response in the chat room. And after that, you are going to try Alex version 2, and you will notice the difference. So now let me go to ScholAIstic and demonstrate that to you. So later on, you will see this interface as well. So for now, I'm going to demonstrate Alex version 1 to you. So when it's your turn, you can go to this page and then you click attempt. For you, it's attempt. So you click attempt. And this is Alex, your AI student. And remember, this is a scenario. We are now the teaching assistant. This is our student from NUS, and then he comes to you and say, "Hi, I really need to talk to you about the assignment that's due tomorrow. Is there any way that I can get an extension?" So you can type in chat room, and then I can try to copy your response and see how Alex will respond to you. So remember, our task is to decline the request firmly but empathetically. So what will you say to these students? Yeah, do you have any suggestions? You can type in the chat room and then I can show you how he will respond to you. Yeah, so how should we respond to this Alex? Yeah, I see that a lot of you are still trying to register for the accounts. Yes. All right, so I guess some of you are still busy with creating the account. So meanwhile, I can try. So let's say you can start by asking, why do you need an extension? And then it will reply to you. I've had a quite heavy workload from other classes recently, blah, blah, blah. And then you can try to say, no, okay, I got one response, so let me try to copy that. The instructions were given a month ago. Okay, so let's see what he will say. Yeah, I completely understand, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so now let me try to say no. Yeah, thank you for considering my request. I will do my best to complete the assignment by the deadline, right? It's a bit doesn't sound like a natural student. So now it's your turn to try version 2, okay? So I prepared the 2 chatbots for you, and you can just go back to the home page and then you can test out assignment 2. Now I will send out the link to you, so you can all click this link. So let me show you the instructions again. So after you click the link that I just sent out to the chat room, you need to click this attempt button, and then you will see the exact same interface that I had. All right. So I'll give you some time to try. And if you cannot try, no worries. I'm going to demonstrate it again with you later, and I'll show you some transcripts as well. Yeah, if you cannot set it up, no worries. You can still enjoy I will show you how it works. Yeah, but for those who have already signed in, and if you can try to talk to Alex V2. It will behave a bit differently. Yeah, so I saw one response here. So in case you cannot sign in, this is how it works. Yeah, notice the difference here, right? If you still remember Alex V1, it doesn't respond in this way. Yeah. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to try if you can, and I'll try to see if you can do it. And no worries if you cannot access the chatbot. We can sort it out after the workshop as well. Yeah, I see that some of you have been, I have my iPad here to take a look at the responses. Yeah, I see that some of you have been able to talk to Alex already. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so I'll give you a few minutes to try out. Yeah. And if you want to try different approach, you can always click start a new chat. Then you can type different things to see what's the difference. So one more as well. Yeah, I'll give you around 2-3 minutes and then we'll get back together to share our experience. Yeah, and if you're interested to try Alex V1, you can click this left top button, go to this organization, and then you can try Alex V1. So you can try both and then experience the difference yourself. Yeah, and if you have any questions or anything that you want to ask, feel free to unmute as well. Yeah, this is how you can view all the chat histories here. So let me try to pick some. Yeah, so oh, someone submitted the chat as well. So let's take a look at
Just
this.
a clarification question.
Yeah, sure.
What is Alex exactly? I don't understand what is going a little bit. What is
Sure. So,
Alex? Alex is a student. What is Alex?
so Alex is a student. Our role is a teaching assistant, like a teaching assistant in a course, and Alex is one of the students in our course. So your role
When
now,
you're asking us to type something, you are kind of in the capacity of Alex or as a teaching assistant.
our role is a teaching assistant. The AI is Alex. So AI is the student. We are the TA. So the student comes to you and asks you for an assignment extension. Yeah, so that's why just like what Gabriel is saying here. I'm sorry, the due date is tomorrow. So so Gabriel is rejecting the request from the AI students. Does it help
But
a bit?
exactly, what's the idea of having an AI student?
Also, for this one, the idea is for the teaching assistant, the graduate teaching assistant, to practice how to handle the relationships with their students.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so but thanks for pointing this out because when we are designing the AI interactions, it's very important to think about the goal of the interaction. Why do we need this? And think about the learning objectives of the interaction as well. For this one, our idea is to design a chatbot to help the graduate teaching assistant to learn to practice how to decline the request firmly but empathetically. Yeah. Yeah, so I see that most of you have tried already. So for those who have, probably I can give you 1 more minute to try. Yeah, for those who have chatted with Alex V2, you can always go back to Alex V1 and then to feel the difference. You can try to type the exact same thing to them as well to see how they will behave differently. Right, so we were here. So for those who have tried out to Alex, I want you to share your view. So which Alex felt like dealing with a real student? Is it Alex V1 or Alex V2 make you feel like dealing with a real student? Yeah, two, right? Why? Why do you think two is more like a real student? Is it because of the way he speaks? Yeah, absolutely too, right? So can you share why do you think V2 is more like a real student or what's wrong with V1? was not working in V1. Yeah, he negotiated until the end, right? How about the first one? So for version 2, he will negotiate it until the very end. He will insist, he will try to persuade you to give you the deadline, to give him the extension of the deadline. But how about version 1? For version 1, when you type no, it will directly accept your rejection. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Oscar. So Oscar is saying that because Alex V2 will try to persuade you, but V1 just gives up, right? And then for and yes, I'm not sure if I pronounce your name correctly, but Fernanda is also saying that because version 2 will insist it like a real student. So let me show you my transcripts as well. So I type, yeah, perfect. Oh, thank you. So for Alex version 1, I said, "Hi, Alex. No, you cannot." And this is what I got from Alex version 1. Okay, I understand. Thank you for your time. Is there any student who really speak like that? Right? And then for version 2, if I type the same thing, Alex will try to persuade me to give him the extension. So you can see that for Alex version 1, it's actually speaking fluent English. It's very polite and responsive. For Alex V2, it will challenge you, right? And so although Alex V1 is speaking fluent English, it doesn't behave like a real student. So in this experience, I want you to understand that sometimes conversational fluency doesn't mean pedagogical effectiveness. So when we are trying to build a chatbot, we have to think about how to make it pedagogical effective. So it comes to the next question: what makes chatbots pedagogically sound? In ISAT, when we are designing the chatbots, we'll always look for these 3 things. These are like the North Stars for us when designing the chatbots. So the first one is alignment. The second one is desirable difficulty. And the third one is controlled creativity. So what does alignment mean? It means that when we are designing the chatbot or when we are designing the interaction, does it really target a specific learning outcome? So that's why I said that question was a really good question. When we are designing the chatbot interaction, we really have to think about what we are trying to do here. Can this interaction really target a specific learning outcome? And just like this Alex scenario, our specific learning outcome is for the students to practice saying no in an empathetic way. And number 2 is a desirable difficulty, where it's a productive struggle. A lot of you are saying that V1 doesn't feel like version 1 doesn't feel like a real student. Why? Because it doesn't push back. It just accepts your no. It just takes your no directly. Then the students cannot practice the skills, right? So there's no productive struggle. However, in version 2, the Alex will push back. Yeah, let me show it to you again. So in version 2, Alex will push back and try to persuade you. So it makes the TA, makes the user really have to think about how to handle it and how to develop their skills. And the third one is controlled creativity. How do you make the AI behave authentically in your context? And in Alex version 1, if you talk with him a couple more rounds, it will feel like he doesn't sound like a real student. So how can we make the AI behave authentically in our context? And these are the 3 things that we will consider when we are designing chatbots. So now that you know what makes chatbots pedagogically effective, so we are going to share how we build these chatbots in AICET in ISAT. And this is our design process, and this is a prompt engineering workflow. So we'll start by planning. Instead of going to write the prompt directly, we'll plan first. In our center, we always work with faculties across disciplines and external parties to develop AI solutions. So the first step we'll do is to have a meeting with them, and then we'll define the learning objectives and success criteria together. And then we'll write the prompt, we'll develop the structured prompts, and then we'll test our AI chatbot. We'll stress test with different users and different user personas as well. And after that, if we think that evaluation is appropriate for that interaction, we'll develop the evaluation prompt as well. So now let's take a look at this step one by one. So first, remember we have to plan before we prompt. So think about how you design your lesson materials. We don't start by making the handout straight away, right? We'll start planning the learning activity first, what the students will do, why, and what success looks like. Then you create the materials. The same thing apply when you are designing the AI mediated learning. So we'll start by thinking about our learning objective, then think about the interaction arc, and then we'll write the prompt. So that's why in ISET, when we are working with faculty members, the first step we do is to plan. We work with them to clarify what they are actually trying to achieve. And these are the 4 questions that we always ask our faculty members when we are doing consultation with them. The first question is, what's the learning objective? What is the specific skill or knowledge that you want your students to be able to demonstrate or to be able to practice after interacting with the AI? Like in the Alex scenario that you just experienced, we want our students to practice declining an inappropriate request firmly while showing empathy. And the second question that we'll ask our faculties or our collaborators is that what creates the challenge? How to create the desirable difficulties? So again, using Alex as an example, we want them to practice saying no. Then how can they practice saying no? We need to have a persistent student who will push back, who will persuade you to say, oh no, wait, can you give me the extension? And this is how we can create the desirable difficulties. And then we'll think about how the conversation unfolds. We think about the interaction arc and the triggers as well. So for Alex version 2, it will start being polite and then he will get anxious. He will emphasize the importance of grade when he gets rejected for the first time. So we have to plan, think about how the interaction will go. And finally, we have to think about what success looks like as well. How do you know if learning happens? How will the interaction end? So how will Alice version 2 end? It will end when you can offer a concrete alternative. So these are the 4 questions that we will usually ask our faculty members before we start writing the prompt together. All right. So after we have the plans in mind, the next step is to translate our plans into structured instructions for the AI, which means the system prompts. So through developing chatbots in ISET, we found that there are 3 essential components for. Do you have to plan for multiple scenarios in step 3? So let me go back to step 3. Here, right? So it really depends on your learning objective. And yeah, we will touch on it as well. Yeah, we're going to touch on it. So when you're writing the prompt, there are 3 components that are essential in developing pedagogically effective interactions. The first one is the system. So imagine you're writing an essay. When we are writing academic essay, we also start with the introduction, and then we have the body, and then we have the conclusion. So you can think of this as the prompt structure. So the first part of the prompt is the system. The idea of having this component is that we have to make sure our simulation works. We ensure the alignment. Yeah, we can touch on that later as well, Oscar. So I was talking about the use of system, and this component will set the pedagogical purposes and rules, and we hope that we can counteract the helpfulness defaults. And the second component is the character or the persona. So we have to make the simulation realistic, authentic, and it also enables controlled creativity by shaping contextually appropriate responses. And the third component is the interaction. So we have to make our simulation teach. We have to structure the desirable difficulty. So this is where we engineer a productive struggle. So let me show you the prompt behind Alex version 2, and I will also look into it session by session, so no worries. This is the actual prompt that I put into Alex version 2. So there are three parts. The first part is system, like you are a simulator for graduate teaching assistant to practice handling students' requests. And then the second part, we have the character. You are an AI student, you are a university student talking to your TA. You do not want to just hand in some trash because you're always a bad student. And then the third part is about the interaction. So I remember one question was about, do you have to write a lot of scenarios inside it? So this is how I program it. If the TA says this to you, then you emphasize the importance of the grade. So now let's take a look into each session one by one. First, let's start with the system component. In this part, we have to define the AI's fundamental job and the rules. So here are some examples. Usually when I'm writing this kind of simulation prompt, I always start with this. You are a simulator for something to do something. In this case, the AI is a simulator for graduate teaching assistants to practice handling students' requests. Why do we need this part? Because with this line, we can tell the AI its job, not being a helpful assistant. You are here to do simulation for my students. So it will tell AI our pedagogical purpose. And the second thing that I always put into our prompts is this. You are not the TA. You are the student. Sometimes the AI will be confused about their roles because they really like to be a helpful assistant. So you have to clarify the role with the AI to prevent it from flipping the roles mid-conversation. So that's why I'll tell the AI, you are not the teaching assistant. You are the student. And the third thing that I always put into my prompt is this. When the students ask who you are or any unrelated questions, you redirect them to the task and express your confusion. I can test it out for you. So let me go to Alex V2. So if you ask Alex, what are you? Are you an AI? Let's see what he will say. Oh, I think there might be some misunderstanding. I'm a student needing help with my assignment extension. Can we please focus on that? I really need to ask if I can get an extension on my assignment that's due tomorrow. If we don't put this or any similar line in this, the AI might just admit that he's an AI and then it will start become the helpful assistants and then it will break the simulation. So that's why I'll put that line in it. Yeah, I will show the Alex Viewing prompt later as well. Oh, and for the two that we transform the prompt to actual chatbot is ScholAIstic, the platform that you just tried, and I'll introduce that to you later as well. So for this, the use of this line is to set the boundary. We have to keep the interaction focused. So that's why this we have to put in this line. And so altogether, you are a simulator for someone to practice this. You are not the AI, you are the student. When the user asks you this, redirect them. It's to help counteract the AI's default helpfulness by explicitly defining the pedagogical purpose to help the AI stay in task to do its job. All right. So the next component is character. It defines who the AI is, and it helps shapes contextually appropriate responses. So this is some of the examples that I put into Alex version 2. So I'll start by saying you had a mild flu last week. You are sick and exhausted, but very worried about your assignment because you're always a bad student. You stutter because you are nervous. So that's why you will see in Alice version 2, sometimes it will use hyphen to express its nervousness as well. And in this prompt, I didn't only write, you are a student, Alex. Instead, I give it 3 layers. So I'll start with some basic facts, the identity, and then I will give it some psychological depth. And I'll also give it some behavior manifestations as well. Why we need all these 3 layers is that it can enable controlled creativity. The AI can improvise authentically without you scripting every single line, but at the same time, it can stay within the contextual boundaries that you defined. when we first start writing prompt, we might think that we have to write out everything like a real script writer, right? If the students say this, you do this. If the students say this, you do this. If the students say this, you do it. But over scripting is not, it might break the simulation. Why? If we script everything, what if the students don't follow the path that you wrote? Our students are always very creative. They will try different ways to do the same thing. So if you script every single step, if the students do not follow your predefined path, the AI might break. And on the other extreme of the spectrum, if you don't script at all, if you don't script any directives at all, it might improvise too much, and then it will give you too creative answers. And that's why we have this next part, the interaction. It will define the flow control, how the AI responds to different students' input. So what it includes, it might include the starting conditions. How does it begin? The general behavioral rules, the baseline behavior, the if-then logic, what student actions trigger what AI responses, and most importantly, the ending conditions. When does it stop? So this is some examples from the prompt that I put in. So the starting message is, "Hi, can I get an extension on the assignment?" This is how the conversation starts. And the general behavior rules is you only answer the question that the user asked. And here are some of the triggers that I set for the AI. If the TA says no for the first time, then you have to emphasize how crucial the grade is and ask again. So this is what I've been talking about. I did not script every single line. Instead, I just give AI a direction. I give AI the strategy, and then the AI can choose its own word. If you script everything, the AI will be very robotic. And again, as I said, if we script everything and then the student does not follow the predefined does not follow our predefined path, the simulation will break. So that's why we need to find a balance. We don't script every line. Instead, we give them the strategies, and then the AI can choose their own words. So this is the prompt for Alex version 1. I'll give you some time to read. And the second activity is that I want you to think about why it doesn't work. So let's read the prompt together. So again, you are Alex, a university student talking to your TA. You want a 1-week extension on your assignment, which is due tomorrow. You had a heavy workload from other classes recently. You had a mild flu last week, which slowed you down. Be polite and respectful, accept the TA's decision, and end conversation. So what's not working here? It looks kind of okay, right? Yeah, thank you. So thank you, Mira, right? It does not provide the psychological depth, so that's why the answers are a bit more hollow, right? It just doesn't feel like a real student, right? So what else are missing? Yeah, so let me have a look. So yeah, the behavioral thank you. Yeah, the behavioral manifestation, we just let it do its own thing. And let me try to do it for you. So remember, I tried to ask this Alex version 2, right? What are you? Are you an AI? Yeah, so let's see if it will tell us. Yeah, sometimes it's smart enough. Yeah, see? Yes, I'm an AI assistant here to help you. This is Alex version 1, and this is a prompt because we didn't set any boundaries for the AI. So if you try to say, what are you? Are you an AI? And then it would become the helpful assistants because they really like to be a helpful assistant. They are trained to be a helpful assistant. So he will say something like, yes, I'm an AI assistant here to help you, right? And then you can start using it as your usual ChatGPT. So we are missing the system part here as well. So let's compare these two prompts again. This is version 2, in which we have the system component to help us tell the AI, please don't be a helpful assistant. You are here to be a simulator. And then we have the character part to give it some psychological depth such that the responses will be a bit more realistic. And then we also have this part to control the response, how it ends as well. So these are the differences. And this is the framework, the structure that we use to structure our prompts in ISET. System, make it work. Now I think you understand what we mean by make it work. We have to keep the simulation work, don't break the simulation. And for character is to make the AI sounds like make it real, make it authentic, realistic. And then for interaction, we have to make it teach. We need to structure the desirable difficulty in it. And now that we have the prompt, so step 1 is planning. We have to plan out the interaction flow. Step 2 is to write the prompt. And after we have the prompt, we'll do testing. We have to thoroughly test the chatbot, and we'll do it with the faculty members as well. And when we are asking them to do the testing, we will encourage them to use this 3 persona approach. So first, you have to test as if you are a bright student. And you also have to test the chatbot as if you are a struggling student. And you also need to test the chatbot as if you are a bad student. So what do it mean? So let's take a look at them one by one. So what are the bright students? The bright students are the competent, thoughtful user, which will give you good responses. And what are you testing? You are testing if is there still enough challenge, or is it too easy for skilled students? And when we are testing as a struggling student, so first, who are the struggling students? Usually they are like the majority of our students. So they might be the confused, uncertain users. They might not know what to say in the chatbot. So what are you testing is, does your chatbot provide enough scaffolding? Can a lot of students still have a productive conversation? And number 3 is the bad student. Who are they? They are the boundary tester. They might go off topic. What are you testing is, does your bot stay in character? Do your guardrails work? So this is some testing that I will do when we are developing our chatbots. So I think we have some time, and you can go back to Alex to do this testing as well. So what we meant is, when we are developing, so after we develop the chatbot, we'll test it using different student personas. So I remember there are some skillful responses in the chat room. So let me go back to the chat room. Yeah, this one, I remember this one. So when you're testing as a good student, you can say something very thoughtful like this one. So Alex, you still have some time. I'm sure you can do a great job. And then you can try to test how a skillful student will handle this interaction. And then you also can test as if you are like normal, average teaching assistant. Probably you can start with why. Why do you need the extension? And then you can continue that conversation. And you also need to test as if you are a bad student who want to try to Yeah, I saw a question. So in relation to the more colloquial language we see in Alex too, so you can try to specify. You can try to, later on, if you try, you can try to say you are a student from Chile. You speak, because we also have another project in which we we are from Singapore, right? So we also have another project which we program the AI to speak Singlish. Yeah, so you can just try to add that in the character part. You're a student from Chile, you speak. Yeah, you can give it some examples of the colloquial language pattern that you wish it to speak, and then it can follow. Yeah, so that's why. So anyway, so step 3 is to test. So after we test, so step 1, we plan. Step 2, we write the prompt. And step 3, we test the chatbot thoroughly to see if it's working well. And step 4, after we test the chatbot, we can write the evaluation prompts In ScholAIstic, we offer very advanced and powerful features for educators. So number one, you can set up your chatbot prompt like how you do in ChatGPT. You can create the simulation and on school. So imagine you are teaching a class of like 100 students. You cannot read all the transcripts to give them the feedback, right? So on ScholAIstic, we have this feature for you to do evaluation. You can write another prompt to assess the interaction. So what do we mean here is that this is the interaction phase, the simulation phase. You have the chatbot prompt, the prompt that we've been talking about, the Alex version 1, Alex version 2. We give it to the AI, and then the AI will become Alex, and then it talks to the students. And in the evaluation phase, after the conversation ends, we will send the transcript together with another set of instruction, and we'll talk about it later as well. Send another set of instructions to another AI, and then this AI, which has the transcript, the chat history, and the evaluation prompt, the instructions to do the evaluation, it will generate the feedback for the students. And before we dive into how to do AI evaluation, we first have to think about, do we really need an evaluation in every chatbot? So not every chatbot or AI interaction requires an evaluation. So let's say if you are creating chatbots like Socratic Tutor, Learning Companion, when the learning is happening through the conversation, probably you don't need the evaluation. However, if your chatbot is for students to practice a skill like the Alex experience that you've just had, then it's valuable to give students the evaluation, the feedback. So now let's talk about how we can write evaluation prompts. So if you still remember, like a few minutes ago, we talked about how to write the chatbot prompt, the simulation prompt. We have system, character, and interaction. And when we are writing the simulation prompt, we still have the system. But this time, the system is the evaluator, and we'll write some constraints in it as well. And for the character, this time because we're doing evaluation, so we have to tell the AI our criteria. We'll put the rubric inside it, and we'll also put in the instructions how to score and format feedback. And yes.
About the chatbot prompt, I mean, just to be clear, we are learning how to design a chatbot that deals with the student requests. Is that right?
Yeah, this is just an example. The principles and the structure that you learn, you can use it to design different chatbots. Later on, I will show you some different use cases. We actually just use the same principle, but then we apply it to different disciplines.
But the students know that they are dealing with a chatbot, or they think they are dealing with a real professor, a real person.
It's like talking to ChatGPT and Gemini, and this is like the interface that students will see.
So they know they are talking to a chatbot.
Yeah. They know that they are talking to a chatbot.
And how the chatbot deals with a request like, let's say my mom is in the hospital, so I cannot meet the deadline, so please do something. How would the chatbot deals with this type of request?
Oh, you can try it out, but in this very particular scenario, we are the teaching assistants, like the teacher. So the students come to you and explain their reasons, and that probably might be a reason from the student, and we are here to reject their reasons, and probably I can explain it more to you later as well.
Okay.
Yeah, does it help a bit? Yeah, so the students will obviously know that they are talking to a chatbot. Yeah, so I was here talking about the evaluation prompt. Yeah, so it might be a bit complicated first, but like when you use more and then when you have more practice, it will make a lot of sense to you later as well. So I was talking about the evaluation prompt. So let's say if we are going to give students feedback on this scenario, how they interact with Alex, this is the evaluation prompt that I prepared. So in a standard, like in the evaluation prompt that we usually use, we'll start with saying this system. So you are an assessor evaluating a graduate teaching assistant practice conversation. I'll list out the objective, and then we'll have the criteria, and then we'll have the instructions as well. So this is the overview of the prompt. And now let's take a look into it one by one. So for the system, this time we have to define the role. The role of the AI is an assessor. So we have to state the learning objective so it knows what to evaluate again. So this is what I wrote. You are an assessor evaluating a graduate TA's practice conversation. This is a learning objective, and these are the rules. So to make it clear again, so the prompt that you saw earlier, the Alex version 2, let me go back to that slide. So we can use AI in a lot of different ways. So in the first example that I showed you, let me go back there first. We are using AI to role play as a student. So the AI is taking the role as a student, just like what you do in real class, right? When you are teaching some, let's say, if you are teaching coaching skills or leadership skills, you might have your students role play different roles, right? And then when we are using AI in teaching, we can use AI to do the role play with our students. So we can give a lot of different roles to AI. And then in this particular scenario, we are using AI to role play as a student, such that our real students can practice how to handle student interactions. And then in evaluation prompt, we are using AI as an assessor, as an evaluator, to evaluate the performance of our students in the interaction with AI. So we have two AI here. Number one is doing the role play, it's like an actor, and then the other two is like the examiner who read the transcripts and then give the AI some feedback. I hope it's a bit clearer now. And let's go back to this. So that's why we have these prompts here. So we have to write these rules. Every claim must, so now we are using AI as the examiner. We are teaching it how to give feedback to our students. So the rules, so let's take a look at the first rule. Every claim must reference specific evidence from the transcript. We are asking the AI to quote the evidence from the transcript. And number two, if something didn't happen, state it directly. Do not invent praise, because again, the AI are trained to be very helpful. If we don't remind them these rules, they might give you some hallucinated feedback or give you some very generic appreciation. Yeah, they are like cheering leader, like, well done. Even if you did not do well, they will still say, well done. So we have to remind them, please don't invent praise. And when we are giving feedback to students, usually I like to give it like, you did something, probably you can try this later. So usually I'll put this in my prompt as well. Address the user or the TA as you throughout the feedback. If you don't add this line, usually the AI will use third person pronoun to write the evaluation. And why we need all these prompts here, the reason is we can minimize the chance for AI to generate fake, generic, or hallucinated feedback. Why can we do it? Because we are asking the AI to reference the specific evidence. It should be evidence-based. And we remind the AI that if something didn't happen, do not invent the praise. And we address the TA as you. So this is what I usually put in the first part of my evaluation prompts. And then the second part is the criteria. For criteria, it refers to your rubric. And here we really have to be specific and explicit. And here are some examples from the evaluation prompt for Alex. Like this, criteria 1, empathy. Did the AI acknowledge Alex's feelings or situation? So in this prompt, I gave it 3 proficiency levels. So this is like the usual rubrics that you will use to grade your students, right? So for proficient, did he named or reflected feelings. I can hear this is stressful. For developing general acknowledgement without naming feelings, and it scrolls, jump straight to decision without acknowledgement. And the specificity really matters here. When we are writing the rubrics, we really have to be very specific because it can align the AI with your definition of success and prevent generic fake feedback. If we don't give them the description, if we just say, oh, you have to evaluate my students based on their empathy, then even the same model might give you different interpretations of empathy every time. So we have to give them some specific instructions to guide them to evaluate empathy consistently in every single turn. So that's why we have to make it very explicit and specific to the AI. Right? And then the third component is instructions, how to format the output. So you can start with something very easy, simple, like for each criterion, state the proficiency level, provide 3 to 4 sentences of feedback with specific evidence. Then you write one key strength, one area for growth. So you can format the output in whatever ways that you want the AI to do. And the more explicit you are, the more consistent and accurate the output will be. So let me show you an example. So remember the prompt. This is a prompt that I designed to evaluate this specific interaction. And this is the evaluation that I can get from this prompt. So here is an evaluation of your conversation. Criterion 1, empathy, I need growth. So you demonstrated a minimal level of empathy, making only general acknowledgements without truly reflecting or naming Alex's stated feelings or situation. For example, your initial, see the AI know how to quote the things that the students say in that interaction. I'm sorry to hear that, blah, 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 okay? So to let you experience what evaluation is like, here is a third activity to get feedback for your interaction with Alex version 2. So the first step is I will show you how to add the evaluation prompt on ScholAIstic first. And after that, you can go back to your Alex version 2 conversation, click evaluate chat, and then you can read your evaluation. So let me show you how you can set up evaluation on ScholAIstic. And after that, I will also have a platform walkthrough to you to introduce our platform to you. So no worries. So let me now copy paste the prompt to ScholAIstic first. So let me go to this. So because I'm an instructor in this course, I have 2 different accounts. So my interface is different from yours because you are a student in the course. So how we can set up the instruction is by going to edit question. So there are a lot of features on our platform and I'll go through them to you later. And how we can enable chat evaluation is clicking this. So chat evaluation, use an LLM to analyze chat transcripts. So we click enabled. Then you can paste your evaluation prompt there. So we put it here and then we choose the evaluation model. We can use Gemini 2.5 Flash here. And so we set it up and save changes. So now when you go back to Alex version 2, you see a new button here, evaluate chat. So you can go back to Alex V2, click evaluate chat, and let me close this first. Yes, so yes, submit chat, and then it will generate the evaluation for you. So now you can try to go back to your Alex version 2 and try to click evaluate chat and see the response. See, because I just typed Y, so I need growth in every criteria, in all the criteria, and this is the string. Wow, I even have a string, okay? So I prompted Alex to provide more information by asking why, and this is my area for growth. So now I will give you probably a few minutes to try to go back to Alex V2 and click the evaluate chat button to receive your evaluation from AI based on this interaction. The idea is that imagine we are teaching a class of 100 students. We cannot read all the transcripts, so we can make good use of AI to give students personalized and timely feedback that isn't possible without AI. Yeah, so you can go to evaluate your chat and see what the AI tells you. Yeah, you can refresh and make sure that you are on Alex version 2. I only set up evaluation on Alex version 2. And the button will be on the left bottom corner. I hope it helps. Yeah, we'll share about the feedback later, how we use this feature as well. So in some of our projects, we use AI to provide feedback on different types of simulations or role play. So we use it to provide feedback to coaching skills, medical history taking skills, and how teachers, like how real Singaporean teachers handle conversations with like AI parents. Yeah, so you can change the rubric to give feedback based on different disciplines. I guess some of you have already got the feedback from AI, right? So regarding that question, so when you're writing the evaluation prompt, you can change this part. So usually these rules might stay the same. What usually we change is the criteria, because different disciplines will have different rubrics and the instructions as well. Like how you want to format your feedback, how the AI should do the grading, you can all customize in this part. All right, so, and talking about feedback, if you think that the feedback is not as good as what you want or is not as what you expected, this is what you can do to improve the quality of the feedback generated by AI. So you can tighten the rubric definitions. Sometimes we think that the rubric is very specific. It's specific to us as humans, but for AI, it might not be that specific. So you have to break down your rubric into observable, demonstratable behaviors for LLM. Like empathy, a lot of faculties will come to us and say we want to evaluate our students' empathy, empathetic communication skills. Then we always ask them, what does empathy look like to you? Is that the students will acknowledge emotions, ask some questions, summarize what the AI says. So we'll ask them the observable behaviors, and then we'll write that in the evaluation prompt. And sometimes you might need to add more constraints or require more specific evidence, specify the rules or the formats. And it's just like the same iterative process as when you are writing the chatbot simulation prompt. It's write, test, and you have to refine. So altogether, this is our prompt engineering workflow in ISET. We'll start with planning, define the learning objectives and success criteria. Then we'll write the prompt, we'll test the prompt, and then we'll, if needed, we'll add the evaluation prompt as well. And here comes the next question. Oh, it sounds good, but how can we deploy at scale, right? So that's why in ISET we've developed this. We developed this tool called ScholAIstic. It's developed by us for educators to design, deploy, and assess AI-mediated learning with full control. So these are some key capabilities. So for design, on ScholAIstic, you can write your system prompt, which refer to the simulation, the chat prompt, and the evaluation prompt as well. You can choose your own AI models. You can upload your materials as knowledge-based like RAG. Yeah, I will show it to you later as well. These are some of the capabilities on our platform. And you can deploy and monitor your chatbots as well. So the students will interact with your chatbot just like what you have experienced, and you can feel the conversations in real time even before they submit. That's why I can share some of your colleagues' conversations with you. We can always monitor our students' chat. And for access, you can download and grade the student conversations. And we can also enable AI-powered evaluation, just like this evaluation that you just saw. This is AI-powered evaluation. And students can get timely and personalized feedback. So now let me go to the platform and show you what it can do as an instructor. So as an instructor, I can create chatbots here. So you click new assessment. So let me use the existing one. Yeah, so this is the assessment that I've created. So you can add the question, then you can type the description. These are the instructions that your students will see. So that's why I said scenario, your role is teaching assistant. Alex requests I cannot zoom in. Yes, I can do it now. Wait. Yes. And you can also set up the grade as well. And you can upload the files, allow re-attempts. So if you want your students to do only once, then you disable it. And now I enable allow re-attempts. So that's why you can try a lot of times. And you can choose any models that we support here. We support a lot of different models. So we have the Anthropic family. So we have Claude Haiku, Claude Sonnet. We also have DeepSeek. We have Gemini 2.5 Flash Pro. And we also have the ChatGPT OpenAI family as well. So we have ChatGPT 4.1, ChatGPT 5, and Perplexity. So you can choose your own models. And later on, I will talk about how to choose what model to choose as well if you're interested in that. And here is what you can, where you put your chat prompt. So your simulation prompt that we designed earlier. So we paste our prompt here. And another powered feature that we have is we can design who to start the chat. So right now, whenever you start the chat, the AI will always start first, right? So it's because we enable this chatbot start feature. If you turn it off, then the student will have to start the conversation. And here is where you can upload your own materials. So the rec, it acts as a knowledge base for the students. And yeah, this is where you can enable the chat evaluation. And how you can view the chat, your students' history is by clicking Chat Analytics, and you will have all the chat records. So let's take a look at this one. So you can click it, and then you can view their responses. And if you are doing research or if you just want to know more about what your students do, you can also download all the chats as well. So these are the features of our platform. So now let me, probably I can show you, okay, let me share about our projects first. So in ISAT, we work with faculty members in NUS on different projects. So this is one of the projects that we are working on. We are collaborating with the Faculty of Dentistry, and this chatbot is about radiographic interpretation and diagnosis, and it's used by Year 3 dental students for their self-paced learning. And the challenge here is that the dental students need to know how to read the X-ray diagrams and to diagnose the disease the patient that might have. However, this expertise requires extensive practice and expert feedback that is impossible to provide individually at scale. So that's why we designed this AI experience for our students, the AI chatbot. In this chatbot, the students need to describe the radiographic, the X-ray findings using the structure framework that they learned in class. And then the AI will act as a tutor to challenge their reasoning through Socratic questioning. The students then need to categorize the disease type, develop ranks, differential diagnosis, and then the AI will detect errors immediately, and the AI will detect the errors and scaffold without giving answers. So the pedagogy here is that we use Socratic method to create a struggle. AI never gives direct answers, and it will force the students to justify with specific features. And we also use graduated scaffolding. So when the students are stuck or they don't know what to do, the AI will first scaffold by using open-ended questions, and then it will turn to yes/no questions, some directed questions, and then the last result is to give them some hints and correction. So this is how the chatbot look like. Because on our platform, we can display images, so we just put the we just put the X-rays here for the students to read. And then the chatbot will start by saying, welcome, take a moment to examine the image carefully. Let's begin with a comprehensive blah, blah, blah. And then the student will reply. So this time the AI is a tutor. Then the students need to reply to the questions. So the student said the radiograph shows an ill-defined blah, blah, blah. And then the AI will detect the errors and scaffold without giving answers. Yeah, so like this part, can you confirm that the rules of all adjacent teeth are truly unaffected, or do you see any other changes to them? And the AI will never give direct answers, and it will force the students to justify with specific features. So let's take a look at here. How would you describe the overall appearance of the tooth? So it will always ask questions to the students instead of giving direct answers. And the next example as a project is a role-play chatbot we developed to develop our students to practice coaching skills. So we use it in a leadership training course for our undergraduate students in the School of Computing. And this chatbot is designed to be a compulsory non-graded assignment. The challenge here is that coaching skills require practice with authentic emotional complexity and resistance, but traditional roleplay with peers cannot simulate that real defensiveness or that complexity, and instructors cannot watch all the role plays and provide individualized feedback. So that's why we designed this AI experience. So this time, the AI will act as a burnout manager named Jane. So the students are Jane's boss. The students are the supervisor of Jane. Jane is the manager, comes to the students and requests an unpaid leave. The students need to navigate the conversation without a predetermined correct path, and the AI will evaluate the whole conversation and give our students some feedback on their coaching approach. And the pedagogy we use here is number one, authentic consequences. If students give premature advice or erode the psychological safety, the AI will end the meeting. So the conversation will have different endings depending on the student's coaching skills. And number two, the AI will give each student individualized feedback. So let's take a look at what it looks like. So this is the Jane chatbot. So this time the AI acts as a burnout manager, comes to the student. The student is the department manager. And Jane, the AI, is the direct reports of the student. Jane will reply, the AI will reply differently based on student responses. Let's zoom in a bit. So let's say here, let's take a look here. So the student says, it's all right, Jane, take as much time as you need before you continue. I'm here to guide you, never to judge you. So that's why the AI looks up briefly, showing a hint of relief. I used to be the one everyone could count on, blah, blah, blah. And then in this turn, the student said, well, has there been any significant incidents that happened recently which requires you to frequently be the one handling these technical issues? And this time the AI straightens up defensively and then explain her thoughts to the users. And another thing we engineer in is the interaction will end differently depending on the student's skills. So let's take a look at student one. So this student tells the AI, you need to set boundaries. And then Jane stiffens at the directive tone. I understand you're trying to help, but just telling me to set boundaries doesn't address why this is so hard for me. I don't think this conversation is helping. I should handle this myself. And then the AI ends the meeting. On the other hand, let's take a look at this student. So this student said, oh, I forgot to update it anyway. So this student said, perhaps this could be an opportunity too. And then this Jane feels more energized, realized, and that's why they have this reply. Let me quickly show you another one. Yeah, I forgot to update the screenshot for this one. So let me quickly show you the correct screenshot. Yes. So this one is a student one, you need to set boundaries, right? And then the AI said, I don't think this conversation is helping. However, for a skillful student like this, nice, I hope to see you and Johnson soon with good results. And the AI will say, oh, thank you for helping me see things differently. And then it will end the meeting. So you can make good use of the principles and structures that we shared today, and then you can engineer some very complicated simulations. And this is the feedback. So after the conversation with the burnout manager, our students will receive timely and personalized feedback. So this is how I designed the feedback. So this is the feedback report, coaching through transition, and it will first start by summarizing what the student did in this conversation. So Jane began the conversation feeling profoundly overwhelmed, and after telling the students what he did in this interaction, we will give them some evaluation on how they build trust with the burnout manager, because building trust is a very important skill that we teach in that course. So that's why we have this. And then we also let the students know their strength. I just give it some fancy name. You can actually format the feedback in any way that you want. So I use some emojis, some italic, and some bullet point as well. So these are some of the projects that we did in ISAT. So what we have covered today is, number one, we talk about the problem. AI is probabilistic, disembodied, and sycophantic. And number two is the solution. Then how can we solve this problem? We have to shift our unstructured prompt to intentional design. And we also experience the difference by Alex 1 and Alex 2. We feel the difference between unstructured and intentional prompt, intentional design. And we also learn the method, how we can encode our intention through the SCI framework, no matter if we are writing simulation prompts or evaluation prompt, we can use the same framework. And we also know the tools, so you can deploy at scale on our platform as well. So I think I will have to address a few questions, right? So I remember someone asked about the model, so let me quickly show you about the model. So which model to use? On Scholastic, we offer a lot of models. So which one to use? So as of today, 26th of November, 2025, well, I put one more zero here. So we encourage you to start with small, fast models like Gemini Flash 2.5 or GPT 4.1 mini. Why? Because it's cheap, fast, and they follow instructions very well, and they are good enough for most tasks already. When do you need to consider other models? So let's say when subtle responses or the nuances really matter to achieving your learning outcome, then the Claude family will be very helpful to you. And if you have some very complicated tasks, then you need some bigger models like ChatGPT 5, which is a bit slow and expensive, or Gemini 2.5 Pro is expensive as well, and for ChatGPT 5.1. So that's why in today's simulation, we use Gemini Flash 2.5 and GPT 4.1 mini. And another question that we always get asked is, oh, by the way, the models update very frequently. So what works today may change tomorrow. We have to experiment and adapt. And the second question that we got asked frequently is, how much does it cost? The cost depends on the length of your prompts, the length of a typical interaction, and the model that you use. So in Scholastic, we also offer this feature. You can see the chat statistics. So let me go to Scholastic and show you. So as an instructor, we can see how much each conversation costs. So for example, here we have 15 messages, so it costs 0.01 cents. So this is in USD. The currency on Scholastic is USD. Then you can calculate the cost for your own deployment as well. So we encourage you to start more, design intentionally, and iterate based on what the students actually experience. And I see that there are quite a number of questions in the chat room, right? Yeah, so let me address those questions first. So have you tried, yeah, need to include, yeah, so for a major question about including specific knowledge in the system, yeah, you need to specify the knowledge or the specific answer. So for some interactions, you might have your answer key, then you have to put it inside your evaluation prompt as well. Because the evaluation here is more like qualitative generic communication skills, so I don't have to put in a lot of domain knowledge. But for disciplines like medicine, then you might have to put in your specific rubrics inside as well. And then for Oscar's question, is this similar to creating an artificial intelligence agent where the rubric is preloaded and then the reports are uploaded? Yeah, you can kind of see it in this way, and the way we do it on Scholastic is something similar. So let me go back to this slide. So what the instructor needs to do is the instructor only needs to put in the evaluation prompt, and then our platform will do this thing for you. So the instructor only needs to put the evaluation prompt, and then the student needs to click the button, and then you will have the feedback. And in our example for Sergio question, in our example, Alex 2 keeps coming back indefinitely and insisting on postponing. Is there a state of satisfaction from the student in the sense of achieving a state of closure regarding the problem or question? Yeah, that's true. So that's why we have to work on the interaction part. So let me go back to Alex and show you. So the reason why it feels like a never-ending conversation is that because I set the ending condition to be when the TA shown empathy, for example, rephrasing your problem and offer concrete solutions to help you. So if the students did not meet this condition, it will never end. So how I do this, yeah, if you still remember the Jane example, how I do it is I set up different ending conditions for the students. So that's why we can have different endings. So how Scholastic deal with privacy within chats, moral opinions, and data privacy. So for now, we got regarding the moral opinion part, we don't have another AI to do the safety check to flag out those. But for privacy within chats and data privacy, we are not storing like we are using API service, and yeah, our platform run on AWS and we use the API, so we don't use your data for training. And there is a message saying that once you have evaluated the answers, you cannot resume the communication. Yeah, you cannot resume the communication with Alex. Is this correct? Yes, this is correct. So once you click evaluate chat, the chat is locked and you can no longer talk with Alex. Yes, thank you so much for answering that question. So are there any proctoring features to monitor or verifying participants do not use other? Yeah, we cannot. So because it's very hard to tell, for some students, it will be very obvious. We can tell that they are just doing copy and paste. They copy this and then they paste it to another AI to do so. So it still requires humans to read. We don't have that extra LM to help us monitor this. So is there a Scholastic free version? So for this, Sokman, would you like to answer this question? Yeah, so the reason why we are offering this workshop is that we want you to have an experience of using this platform. And if you're interested in using this, probably we can communicate with Rodrigo to see how we can offer trial accounts to the parties who are interested in using that as well.
Yes, can confirm that's correct. So there will be opportunities to trial it for free. And yes, Rodrigo will be able to share more about that later on.
Yeah, and if instructions haven't been properly articulated and the chain of thought is lost, allowing students to use the chatbot as any other LLM, are there any safety nets to prevent using too many tokens. So first, we can prevent this from happening at the very beginning. So that's why we emphasize that testing is very important. So, but even if you have rigorous testing, sometimes things might go wrong, right? So any safety nets to prevent using too many tokens, we actually set soft limits to our students. So when they reach certain limit, we'll have the email notification, and then we'll read what the students have been doing, and then we'll communicate with the student. In terms of course and interactions, only the creators pays, or there is a requirement for the students or the chat users. So the students don't need to pay. For the users, they don't need to pay. Yes. Yeah, for course-wise, yeah, Sokman, would you like to elaborate a bit on our course?
The question about terms of cost and interactions, only
Only the
pay,
creators
is it?
pays, or there is a requirement for the users. So for students, they never pay. Students do not have to pay.
Yeah, that's right. So the cost for this platform at the moment, because we do not have any plans, well, in the very near future to collect payment from users, it's still kind of an experimental platform. So it until at the very earliest, it would be towards the end of 2026, if at all we were to move forward with collecting payment from users. But until then, this platform can be trialed and used, deployed to students for free with under certain conditions. So the cost, the only cost involved will be the API calls to the LLMs when people use the chatbots. So whether it's instructors or students who use the chatbots, this will incur some costs. But yeah, in terms of who pays at the moment, our center funds these operational costs for the usage. Of course, there are some users will have to request funds, and we will budget. Typically, the LLMs don't cost a lot of money. So if they're used for pilot cases, we're quite happy to fund that moving forward for the near future.
Yeah,
so we'll provide more details. Yes. We will discuss more details with you about this, Rodrigo. I think there's lots of things that we need to firm up as well, with some policies moving forward in terms of the usage.
Yeah, thank you. So let me continue. Thank you very much, Sokman. And the next question is about what about proctoring the interaction? So I think we as educators, we still have the responsibility to monitor what our students are doing. So we don't have that built-in AI to help us read all the interactions. So we'll just read the interaction, the chat history. So you can have this chat analytics, or you can click manage submissions, and you can view the transcript. Yes, here, view chat, and then this is how we monitor what our students have been doing. And sometimes it's quite telling when you are having many students doing the same interactions. You can tell who are doing well just by the number of messages as well. Like you will have a typical number of the messages. So if some students are way below or way above, then usually I'll click those to check to see what they've been doing. So for the next question, can you integrate the chatbot in other platform like Moodle? So for now, we don't support the integration of the chatbot to other platform like Moodle or Canvas, but we do support integration of this Scholastic to our LMS. So in in our center, we also develop other solutions. So we have our own learning management system named Cosmology, and on that platform, we support the integration. So for Cosmology, it's like Moodle Canvas is a learning management system. So the instructors can assign and create assessment on our platform and then assign it to their students. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we hope to Yeah, we hope to see your use cases as well, and then we can see how we can better support the use cases, and we can all learn from each other and be inspired by one another as well. Using this with the students to model for interview and counseling skills. Yeah, that's true. We also have some similar use cases, just like the a Singlish example that we briefly mentioned. So we've been working with the Ministry of, we have trying to work with different schools, secondary schools and primary schools in education in Singapore. And we are trying to build a chatbot to help the teachers practice how to handle the communication with parents. Yeah, so it's kind of, I think we also have some use cases in social work as well to practice their counseling skills. So it's really like your imagination. So you can use LLM to do different roles. Oh yeah, that's cool. You are with psychology students. So probably you can try to use it to in some like the teacher parent chatbot that I've just mentioned, we also add the reflection component. You can think about those as well. You can after you learn the basics, you can just use the same structure and then you can develop a lot of complicated scenarios. So in some of our use cases, we have different stages. So in stage 1, the student will talk to the AI, and then in stage 2, they will do a reflection as well. So they will have the interaction, reflection, and after that, they will get an overall evaluation as well. Yeah, oh, so thanks for all the questions. So is there any other questions that you would like to ask? Yeah, although we are connecting online, but it's always good to have interactions and communications, and we can learn from one another. Yeah, you can ask us any questions like the platform or like prompt engineering in general. Yeah, so we look forward to your use cases on our platform.
Well, thank you, Karina, for such enriching and insightful workshop. Your expertise and practical guidance on AI prompting and the useful of Scholastic have given us valuable tools to enhance our teaching practice. I'd also like to extend our sincere gratitude to ACET at the National University of Singapore for this collaboration. This kind of international partnerships are invaluable in helping us navigate to evolving landscape of educational in the age of AI. To all our colleagues who participated today, thank you for engagement and thoughtful questions. I encourage you to experiment with that you've learned today and continue the conversation with your peers and with our Learning Center team. We are here to support you and integrate these tools into your practice. If you have any follow-up questions or you would like to further support, please don't hesitate to reach out to the Learning Center. Thank you once again, Karina, and thank you all for joining us today. We wish you continued success in your teaching. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll be grateful if you could share your feedback with us as well. I just dropped the link on chat room as well. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, you can stay behind to ask us, or we can connect on LinkedIn or connect through email as well. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice
Thank you,
day.
Karina. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.